Let's start off with pitch. Pitch is basically the movement of one note to the next. For example, C to D or C to B, which means if I were to move C to D, the pitch would go up. And if I were to move to C to B, the pitch would lower. Now let's talk about staffs and notes. As you can see on the piano, there are many notes A through G repeated, and in each repeat there is a different segment for that repeat. For example, the first A and B are 0, but the first C is C1. The next C after that is C2. Then after that C is C3. And then C after that, middle C, C4. And after C4 is C5, and so on and so forth. But as you move on to the staff, there are some similarities. For example, middle C in the staff is the same as middle C in the keyboard, which is C4. And in the bass clef's staff also has a C in it. That C being C3. And, well, any C under C3 are under it, obviously. Duh. And in treble clef, the C above C4 is C5, obviously. Because why wouldn't it? Now, to remember these notes on the staff, let's first look at treble clef. And for the lines, it's every good boy deserves fudge. And for the spaces, it would just be F, A, C, E, face. It'd be face. Now, let's look at bass clef. Lines. On the bass clef lines, it would be good birds do fly away. And for bass clef on the spaces, it would be all cows eat grass. Now let's talk about time signatures. The top number for a time signature means beats per measure. So that means a 4 as the top number would be 4 beats per measure. A 3 being 3 beats per measure. 2 beats per measure. A 7 beats per measure. And 5 beats per measure. Now, a bottom number is what type of note receives that 1 beat. So a bottom 4 would be a quarter note receives 1 beat. A 2 means a half note receives that 1 beat. An 8 means an eighth note receives that 1 beat. So a 4/4 means 4 beats per measure with a quarter note equaling 1 beat. Now let's talk about notes. And for this example, we'll be using the time signature 4/4 as it is the most easiest one. Now, in the middle of the screen, you are looking at the quarter note. A quarter note equals 1 beat in 4/4 time signature. Now, right of the quarter note is a half note, and a half note takes 2 beats instead of 1. And after that is a whole note, which takes 4 beats. So basically the entire measure in a 4/4 time signature. Now, left of the quarter note is an eighth note. And an eighth note takes 1/2 of the beat. And this is what an eighth note looks like when it takes up a whole beat. Now, left of the eighth note is a 16th note, and a 16th note takes up 1/4 of a beat. And this is what a 16th note looks like when it takes up an entire beat. Now let's talk about accidentals. Accidentals can be found right after a note or in scales. So, one accidental is A sharp. An A sharp raises a pitch, so E becomes E sharp, and a flat lowers a pitch, so E becomes E flat. And a natural reverts any sharp or flat, or double flat or double sharp. For example, an E flat now then becomes an E when you use a natural. Now, a double sharp is like a sharp but times 2. So an E would become an F, raising the pitch up by 2. But a double flat lowers the pitch by 2. Finally, let's talk about enharmonic equivalents. Enharmonic equivalents are notes that share the same pitch. For example, C sharp and D flat. 2 different notes that share the same pitch. 2 different notes that share the same sound. Now, a good example of this is B. B shares the same note as C flat. 2 different notes that share the same sound. Or a B and A double sharp. Now, those are 2 notes that share the same pitch, the same sound. Another is A sharp and B flat, 2 notes that share the same sound.